So hey guys, and welcome to the Random Watch Dude channel. Thanks for joining me for another video. A bit of a special video today because I've got a bit of an unboxing to show you. So, I mean, YouTube videos don't get much more exciting than an unboxing video, really, do they? Apart from when you're, listening to people gossiping about, about Rolex or whinging about Rolex. I mean, that's obviously number one. But number two has got to be a good unboxing video, hasn't it? And you join me here actually just right at the very bottom of my garden. I'm being a little bit brave today, and I thought I'd do one of those little safari videos again as I work my way towards the actual unboxing studio, as it were, which is an outdoor studio today. This is the bottom of my garden, and whilst I'm just panning around here, I just wanted to talk to you because today's a bit of a coincidence, guys, because today is a day when Omega, because I'm reviewing an Omega today, but today is a day when Omega have just announced a new Speedmaster, a new Moonwatch. And I'm quite excited about it. I actually really like it, guys. I'm sure some of you have looked at the shots already. The press shots that Omega have released of the new Moonwatch. For those of you who don't or haven't heard about it yet, you will. You don't need me to put a picture up. You really don't, do you? I mean, it would be actually just jumping on the bandwagon. Let's be honest. If I put a picture up of this new white Moonwatch, wouldn't it? And who would do such a thing? But I had a good look at it, and be honest with you guys, I've been doing a bit of Omega bashing of late in some of my videos. I've been a little bit cynical about them. There are times, guys, when I think Omega might be just being run by Generation Zers and Millennials, because there's just been no kind of respect, I think, from Omega from Swatch, really, isn't it? From Swatch, really, over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, really, about the brand and, the types of really cool watches that they could release. But I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I think this new Moonwatch that they've just released, in white, I mean, it's not exactly original, isn't it? It's not exactly groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but let's be honest, when have Rolex, other than the left-handed GMT Master 2, when have Rolex ever done anything really earth-shattering and groundbreaking? But what Rolex tend to do is when they do release a new model or a new version of a model, it's usually quite cool. The colorway is quite cool. And look, I've got to give respect to Omega for this one. I actually think that this new white dialed Moonwatch is really cool. I like it. I suppose, if I'm just going to add a little tinge of negativity, because, it wouldn't be me talking about Omega if I didn't say something slightly negative. I wish they hadn't made it boutique only, guys, because unfortunately that's put a real downer on it for me to a degree, is the fact that if you want this new Moonwatch, essentially you've got to go into one of the boutiques, an Omega boutique. And that's, let's hope that you've got one, because they're not everywhere in every city in the world, are they? So first off, let's hope you've got an Omega boutique that's near you that you can go and visit. And if you can, guys, you're going to walk in and it's probably going to feel a little bit like the Rolex conversation, They're not just going to have 10 of them in the safe ready to hand you one because you were the 8th person to come in and the 7 people in front of you got one. Oh no, they're going to make this watch quite difficult to get hold of, and because it's boutique only, guys, of course, what are they going to do? They're probably going to expect you to have bought something else already in the past, and they're probably let's be honest, they're probably going to need to know that you're a bit of a spender, that you've got some money. Or that you're a complete and utter Omega lunatic. And I know there are plenty of us out there. So that's the only downer, I think. Other than that, guys, other than the fact it's going to be really hard to get, I really, really like... I know it's basic and boring. It's just a white dial, but I really like it. So, on that note, I'm going to do a quick review here of this little bad boy that's in this box here. So I'll just rest my tripod down, and as you can see, I've just set up a makeshift studio here on my steps in my garden. Let me just square that up because I don't like it when the lines aren't square. It really does my head in. So there you go, just squared that up with the step there. So guys, I've got an Omega here. I've got a Neo Vintage Omega. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know what's in this box because I did tell you all in a previous video that I've bought myself a Speedmaster, and I've got one in a white box. So this I was going to do a complete unboxing from from the moment that I opened the bag, the courier bag, but unfortunately the courier arrived a day late because the watch was supposed to come to me a day earlier. And apparently, it's by DHL. They're really, really good, but apparently they accidentally put my delivery on the wrong truck, and so it ended up going out that day, going back to the depot because it went on the wrong truck, and it came out to me yesterday. Yesterday was pouring with rain. It was dark. It was horrible. And with no disrespect, guys, but I wasn't going to wait to rip that bag open. So I ripped the bag open. I ripped the box open. And I'll put a couple of pictures up somewhere to the side where you can see, because I did take pictures of the actual ceremonial kind of debagging, if you excuse the turn of phrase, and the deboxing. And here we are. So, guys, Amiga box, the Neo Vintage Amiga box. Guys, I love these old boxes, and I'll let you into a little secret. I'm actually a bit of a box buff. I like boxes. I like little boxes. I don't like big boxes. I like little boxes. I don't know why. I always have, but I've just got this little obsession. Whenever I go somewhere in the world, I always look out for a little box that I can grab, and I don't even generally always have things to put in them, but I do like little boxes, and I do love boxes like this. And look how, even though this is just a basic cardboard box, guys, and it's had better days, it's a bit tatty, but I do like the way that Amiga logo is embossed in there very nicely. So inside this box, guys, I have, and I'll show you how these watches come. They come like this. They come, so basically you've got a nice cardboard box, and then of course the front flap pops down. Most watch boxes come to you like this, where the front flap pops down, and then you get confronted with this really garish looking kind of red faux leather box. And as you can see here, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, these old Neo Vintage faux leather boxes have got a terrible reputation for literally just falling apart. So I'll just pull this out. This one, by the way, is not in bad condition. It's got a bit of flakiness around here, as you can see, and it's just literally, it's almost like really fine vinyl. And what happens over the years is this just all flakes off and falls apart. This is actually not a bad example of a box that's falling apart. There are much worse ones. I've had a significantly worse one. You can see what happens here, guys, is, as it sheds this horrible red stuff, it kind of just flakes off into the spongy lining in the box, and it just gets a little bit ugly, which is why actually watches of the Neo Vintage era, it's not always possible to get them with the box as well, because they literally just have to be thrown away after a while. And once upon a time, actually, I did actually receive I think it was a vintage Amiga Geneve. It's a lovely watch, actually, with Roman numerals all around the dial. Arabic numerals all around the dial. That box was in such bad condition, it was literally just falling apart in my hands. All this red stuff was flaking off, and it gets into your skin. So I ended up literally just chucking the box in the bin. That's how bad it was. So, okay, what we tend to also get with these is this. This is another faux leather card pouch. I'll just take it out of the bag here. This is how it came to me, by the way. They put everything in a little bag for me. So this is another, guys, this type of card pouch still comes with the watches even now with brand new Amigas. But what happens here, look, you can see what's happened here. There's a pictograms card and a warranty card, and they've been in here so long, many years. What's happened is the card sticks to the back of this faux leather, and eventually when you pull the card out, it literally peels all this with it. So again, this is falling apart, and I'm not using it. I'm putting it back in this bag because I don't want to throw it away either, because this watch has come to me as a completely full set. So that'll go back in the bag and back in there. But this watch did come with the full cards and papers, guys. So, and they're in a nice little bag as well, because as well as liking nice little boxes, guys, I like nice little bags too. I think there's something going on there, isn't there? So here we are. This is the pictograms card for the watch. And this is the international warranty card. I don't mind showing you this, guys. A lot of people don't like to put on serial numbers and dealerships on warranty cards, but this, no one's going to clone this watch, guys. It's just way past that point of anybody wanting to copy it or clone it. So I got this watch from Japan. So here's the Japanese dealership stamp here. Not quite sure what any of that says or means, don't know where it is. Obviously the only thing I can read that's remotely English is the telephone number. The reference here, 3523.8000. That's the reference for the watch, and the watch number, or the serial number here, is this 8-digit number here. Now what you'll see interestingly here is the date. So clearly it's the 30th of September, 30th of the 9th. And when I was looking at this before I bought it, I thought, what does H22 mean? Because they'd told me in the description that the watch was a 2010 watch. And I thought, well, it doesn't say 2010 on the warranty card, it says H22. And I looked it up, I Googled it quickly, like you do. And apparently H22 is a Japanese kind of way of depicting the date. Very much like, I suppose you could say the old Roman numerals that we use to sometimes write the date, or the year, if you like, the X's and the V's and the 1s. You know, this is kind of the Japanese equivalent of that. So H22, it means 2010. So there you go. I've got a couple of cards there, so I'll just put those back down, because I know you guys just want to see the watch, don't you? So here it is, and I'll just open. There we go. So what do we have here? Wow. Okay, so this is an Omega Speedmaster, and I'll just take it out here. Just in the bottom there, I've actually got, I'll just show you that quickly, put the watch down. I've just got a couple more links here that are these came nicely bundled, wrapped in this lovely little envelope here, like little envelopes as well as little bags and little boxes. And I've synthesized the bracelet, so I took a couple more links out. But this watch essentially came to me with 200mm or 20 centimeters worth of wrist size, if you like. So there are 3.5 links out of this watch. So I'll just put that back down there, and I'll show you the watch. So this is an Omega Speedmaster, guys. It's not the Moonwatch. So in other words, it's not the manual wind Moonwatch that I was talking about at the start of this video, and you'll all be familiar with. This is an automatic watch. Isn't that beautiful? What a stunning blue dial that is. I mean, this watch is absolutely magnificent, guys. And that's the thing I like about, when I buy a watch, particularly when I buy a watch that's been photographed in one of those white boxes, which is actually designed to show you every tiny little defect, which is great because you can actually see the watch in great detail. But photographs never do these types of watches justice until you get them out in the light and start playing with them. And I just think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous dial. I've had this watch a day, and as you can see, I've set it. So I'm going to talk briefly about what this watch does. It's called the Omega Speedmaster. It's the 3523.8 triple date. And the reason it's called a triple date, and I'll let me just take it off that there, and I'll just show you. The reason it's called the triple date is because it will show you the day of the week, the month of the year, as well as over here there's a little red pointer which is pointing to the date in the month. So it goes all the way around the outside to 31, of course. So it's telling you the day, the date, and the month. It's obviously telling you the time. So at the moment it's just coming up to 20 to 3. Now I've got the stopwatch going on this. As you can see, the central seconds hand is going around there. It's ticking around. Now that's actually the chronograph hand, and the running seconds hand, which would normally be there on a typical three-hander watch. The running seconds hand is over here on this left-hand dial. See if you can see that going around there, just moving around slowly. That's doing a full circuit. It's actually just by coincidence. It's actually pretty much in line with the stopwatch hand there. And also there's another hand here. I'll just see if I can catch it in the light for you. There's another hand here, which has got a big chunky arrow on the end, and that's just telling you the time on a 24-hour dial, on a 24-hour scale. Up here we've got the minutes ticking around for the stopwatch, and down here we've got the hours. So it's got a 30-minute, 12-hour time scale there. So there you go. Now what I'll do, I've had this going for a good while now, because I was actually using it just earlier, actually just after lunch, to time my eggs. So it's already been used as a tool watch. So I'll just reset the stopwatch so you push the top button to stop it. So you can see now I've pushed that. The stopwatch is stopped. You push this bottom button here to reset it, and what you'll see is this seconds hand will whiz back to the top, and these two counter hands will whiz back to the top as well. And I'll just push that now. There you go. It pretty much happens like lightning, guys. It's instant. And all the hands now for the stopwatch all shoot back to the top. So, guys, I'm just, like I say, without wishing to use too many superlatives, I'm absolutely over the moon with this watch. It's a lovely neo-vintage watch from 2010. Lovely case back there. I'd say it's probably had a very light polish. The serial number you can just see in there, barely. Is still just about there, so that tells me that this watch has had a light polish, but it has been very, very lightly used as well, because if this watch had been heavily used, a lot of the nice clean lines that you see on the side of the case, they would have just kind of been rounded off and rubbed out over the years of it being polished several times. So it's going on one of these older bracelets. Now I've never actually had one of these Omegas with this type of clasp. I've certainly had Omegas with this type of bracelet. It's the classic Speedmaster bracelet that you'd also see on the Moonwatch. And I've also got this bracelet on my 2254.5. Which, by the way, is currently being serviced at an Omega service centre at the moment. I'm hoping to get that back in a few weeks' time and show you that. But this clasp, yeah, it's a bit funny. It's kind of a dress watch clasp, really. So I've always wondered how this works. This is a kind of a sliding extension, and the reason they have this sliding extension, by the way, is because they're trying to keep this part of the clasp very short. Which is fine until you go to take the watch off and the watch can't open far enough. So that's why they have this little extending arm here, so that you can push the watch out a bit further when you're trying to take it off. So it's got a one-sided locking mechanism there, and as you can see here, here's the ratchet to let it go. Now, as you know, in a dive watch, you'd have one of these little ratchets on both sides, so you actually have to push them both in to open it. But with this one, you just pop it in for you. Just clicks into place, and there you go. It's lovely and flat. Look, nice short clasp underneath against the wrist, and you just push it, and out it comes, and it stretches out. So I'll just pop it on my wrist, guys. So just to give you an idea of the dimensions of this watch, it's a 39mm diameter case size, 39mm diameter case, and this is what it looks like on my what would it be, 175mm, 17.5 centimeter wrist, just a tad over 7-inch wrist. This is what it looks like. I think it's 39mm, you can't go wrong. I mean, the old Submariners were running at 39mm, weren't they? If you remember the Submariners right up until the 114060, which was, 2012, I think, around there. The old Subs were everything was 39mm, all the dive watches, all the sports watches. So 39mm is just the perfect size. This one has an 18mm lug width, so it's nice and narrow, and it does taper very slightly down to 16mm. There you go. There's the back of it. It's nice and thin. It's quite svelte. Excuse the big bruise on my wrist there. I did that in a bit of a gardening accident quite recently. But yeah, look. I think proportionally this watch is lovely. It's a dress watch. It's obviously not really a sports watch or even a tool watch, but it's certainly a lovely, really lovely dress watch. It's running on movement-wise. It's running on the Valjoux the Valjoux 751 movement, which is modified by Omega, and they rebrand it the 1151. Now, if any of you are familiar with chronographs, the Valjoux 7750 series, 775X series if you like, very, very common and popular movement in good watches. It's a great chronograph movement. I've had several watches from different brands that run on the Valjoux 7750. They're one of those cliched movements that people refer to as a workhorse movement. There's nothing too flash about it. There's nothing special about it, but it's a workhorse movement. It's super reliable, easy to service. And this is the slightly modified version. So Valjoux with this took the 7750 and they added a moon phase, which interestingly on this watch, even though it's running on that movement, the moon phase obviously isn't in use on this movement. And I think they've gone, rather than the moon phase, they've in preference, they've gone for the 24-hour dial instead. So guys, why did I buy this watch? I think that's really an important question to answer because, you know, I've got a couple of other neo-vintage Omegas. I've got a couple of Rolex, if not maybe a couple more than a couple of Rolex actually. And, you know, I think it goes without saying, because I've mentioned this in a few videos before, I love neo-vintage Omegas. I just think that this particular type of watch that Omega were putting out, you know, in the late 90s and right through the 2000s, up until about, I don't know, let's say 2015-ish, you know, they were putting out some great models. They've gone thick now. They've gone with the big case size. In fact, I think it was in 2015 that they released the 8400 movement. And that's when it all started. For me, that's when Omega started to go a little bit downhill in terms of their aesthetic and their design. But I just love these era of watches, guys. I really bought this. It's been a grail of mine, you know. That's another thing. It's been a holy grail watch for me. I've really ogled after one of these for about 5 years now, and so when I saw this come up for sale, it had everything, you know, that was right about it. And I've mentioned this before when I'm talking about, you know, buying watches. It was the right watch for the right price, being advertised by the right seller, and it was the right time for me to buy it. So here it is on my wrist. Quite literally, I'll stick it back on my wrist so you can have a look at it again. I'm just going to finish this video, guys, by just giving you a quick overview of what I paid for this watch. So what I paid for it. Now I had to add. This is a bit of a nuisance to put on the wrist. Actually, I'm not crazy about this clasp on this watch. It's a bit of a nuisance compared to the diver's clasp, but I'll get over it. What did I pay for it? I paid 4,000 New Zealand dollars. That's landed. That includes me having to pay 15% goods and services tax, plus what else did I pay? I paid for some duty as well. So I ended up paying about 20% more by the time I landed it at home, because I got imported this watch from Japan. Can't get this watch in this condition with box and papers from anybody in New Zealand. It's just too small a market. But so 4,000 New Zealand dollars landed. That's in pounds. That's about £2,000. And what's that in dollars? American dollars. That's about 2,500-ish American dollars. Yes, you can get these even cheaper than that, but you wouldn't get them in this superb condition, original condition, and you certainly wouldn't get them with the box and papers. So that's the reason I've paid a little bit more, guys, to get this one. I've waited for this one. It's not a difficult watch to find. There are plenty of them around, but I've been waiting all this time to get one in really good condition with box and papers from a seller that I trust. So there you go. I was hoping this would be a quick review, guys. It's turned into over 20 minutes, and I apologise for that. But I think you'll agree this watch has been really, really worth looking at during the course of this video. It's not a watch that gets a lot of credit. It's not a watch that's had an awful lot of airtime on YouTube. So I'm giving it some of that love on YouTube. The 3523.8 is getting some love, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, please, guys. Please, I'm really keen to find out what you think of this watch and what you think, moreover, also of the new white Moonwatch, which has just been released. And also, guys, hey, tell me what you're thinking of buying next. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Cheers, guys. Bye.